We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Morning everybody. So in this little video we are going to discuss about the dynamics of electrical drives. This is unit 2 in control of electrical drives, subject which is in the 6th semester of electrical engineering of Gujarat Technological University. So this is the basic dynamic equation which is derived on the basis of Newton's second law of motion for rotating bodies, right? Where Tm is applied torque or motor torque. TL represents all the combination of sum of all the opposing force. J is called moment of inertia, and omega is angular velocity in radians per second, right? So this is Tm minus TL is equal to Jd omega by dt is nothing but similar to F is equal to Ma in a linear system. So what are the 4 cases? What are the 3 cases which generally a drive has? So first is it's starting. That means a drive was having 0 speed and now it has to accelerate to a steady speed. So this is the operation. This is the mode in which you are supposed to increase the speed. So speed is increasing in this from 0 to steady. Now look at the equation. What is the situation? For acceleration to be there, d omega by dt should be positive, or Tm minus TL should be greater than 0, or Tm should be greater than TL. So this is the basic requirement, that a motor can accelerate, a drive can accelerate only if the motor produced torque is more than the load torque. So if it is failing to start, then you can always find out or troubleshoot that there is something wrong with the either too heavy load torque or motor torque not being sufficient, right? So starting an acceleration quickly, motor torque must be greater than the load torque. For quick acceleration, the difference should be more. That means Tf should be far greater than Ta. The second operation is called steady operation. That means when you started a drive, then for almost the whole operating region, if it is a constant speed drive, then it is going to run at a constant steady speed. So speed is constant in this region. So at this point, what you have, look at the equation, you have d omega by dt is equal to 0 because speed is constant. And what does it mean? That Tm minus TL is equal to 0. Or in other words, Tm is equal to TL. And this is a landmark statement or very useful to understand, that at steady in equilibrium, motor always produce torque which is equal to load torque. So if load increases, motor torque increases. If load decreases, motor torque decreases. But how much torque motor develops? It always develops torque which is equal to load torque in steady state, right? So let's go to the third part. Third part is about braking or stopping, which is called deceleration. So deceleration means you have a steady speed and now you want to stop or you want to reduce the speed. So the situation is very simple. Your speed is reducing. That means d omega by dt is negative or less than 0. That means Tm minus TL is less than 0. Or in other words, the motor torque should be less than the load torque. Now, you cannot increase load torque to stop. So you have to reduce the motor torque. Now, how you can reduce the motor torque? There are many ways, but a very simple way of reducing motor torque is just switch it off. When you switch it off, the motor torque becomes 0, and so load torque is already there, so motor decelerates. And this is called natural braking. Natural braking sometimes or most of the time is not good enough. So when you want to reduce the time to stop, or when to stop at a particular time, then you need to have an artificial braking, about which we'll discuss some other time. So in short, to this line should be changed. To decelerate quickly, motor torque must be lesser than the load torque, right? So this is the explanation of three cases: starting, steady operation, and the stopping, right? Now we are going to discuss about the load torque. So what is load torque? Any torque which is opposing the motion is considered to be load torque. The opposition motion is opposed because of many items. So what are the components of load torque? First is torque required to do useful work. Suppose I want to lift a material, and the material itself is opposing the motion because of its self weight and the gravity acting on it, right? So that depends on the application. This is the torque required to do useful work. And second type is torque required to overcome friction, right? Friction is present at motor shaft at various parts of the load. And third one is torque required to overcome windage or air resistance or fluid friction, whatever you call it, right? So opposition by wind or fluid in which motor is running. So these are the three types of opposing forces, and they combinedly produce the opposing torque known as load torque, right? Now friction, as you already know, has three components: static friction, dynamic friction, and Coulomb friction. Static friction is there at the starting only. It when there's a high static friction present in some applications, we need to have a very high starting torque. It is there due to large contact surface and large weight or large inertia. Dynamic friction or Coulomb friction is varying linearly with the speed. You can see the torque because of the viscous friction is directly proportional to omega m, and the constant of proportionality is B, which is known as coefficient of viscous friction. This is how you can see the variation of dynamic friction with respect to speed. And third is Coulomb friction. Coulomb friction is constant and it is independent of speed. It is there because of the construction or combination or the manufacturing part or the assembly of the arrangement or the drive. So it is constant. It has nothing to do with the speed. And for most of the application, Coulomb friction is not that significant and can be neglected. If you combine all these three, then it is going to be like this. On one graph, I have shown all the three components: static friction, dynamic friction, and Coulomb friction for a frictional opposing torque or load torque. Now, windage torque is nothing but the resistance because of the fluid or air. If motor is running in air, it is air resistance or air windage. If it is running in fluids, say water, then it is having a fluid resistance, right? And in most of the cases, it is proportional to speed square. So this is very significant when you are having high speed applications. That's why windage is a predominant case in case of high speed trains, you can say aeroplanes, which are running at very, very high speed, right? So this is how you can classify based on the types. Now, depending the type of application or depending on the useful work which it has to do, you can classify load torque on the following cases. These are the few main categories. Depending on type of application, I can have a application like low speed hoist, where load torque is constant and it does not depend on speed. See, so the hoist is lifting material whose weight is fixed. The force acting on it is F is equal to mg. It is also fixed, and it is low speed. So you can neglect the windage or dynamic friction, which are proportional to speed. So the only part which is there is the weight, and which is constant. So we can say that the opposing torque or load torque is constant. So such applications are known as constant load torque type of applications. So low speed hoist is one of the examples of such type of loads. And the characteristics you can see is a straight line parallel to y-axis or parallel to omega axis. If fan type of load are the most common type of load where windage dominates, because they are having blades which are running in air or fluid to pump the fluid up or to force the air. So here no other load is there. So it is having load torque proportional to omega square. Fan, compressor, centrifugal pump, ship propellers, coilers, high-speed hoists, all are example of fan type of load. Very common and very popular type of application. And this is how the fan type of load characteristics is there, right, which we have already done, shown in the case of windage, right? And this is a traction type of load where a huge number of heavy bogies are propelled. So here static friction is dominant because contact area is there, weight is very, very large. High starting torque is required because it is having a high static friction. And once under running condition, load torque is proportional to speed because now motion is there. So it is proportional to speed, and windage, dynamic friction is predominant, right? So traction is a kind of application which is having the speed versus torque characteristics as shown in the figure. So high starting torque is required like this. And once the motor starts, the torque requirement reduces. And further, when you increase the speed, to have a higher speed, you require higher amount of torque, or the opposition of it increases with the increase in speed, right? This is a high-speed hoist where static friction dominates, high starting torque required to accelerate heavy mass. Once under running condition, load torque is proportional to speed, right? So high-speed hoist is there and it is having a huge weight to lift. So here starting torque required is more, and then as the speed increases, torque also increases, right? So that's all about the types of load torque and what are the classification based on the application also. Now in next lecture, we are going to discuss about the 4 quadrant operations of electrical